Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great day. And I hope you didn't talk about politics. Let me know if you talked about politics in the live chat. I find politics in this day and age very interesting because it's not the Trump supporters, and it's not independents, and it's not Republicans who have to constantly defend their viewpoints and judge and condemn. I don't really care. You can vote for Clinton in 2020 or not. I don't care. What do I care? You can vote for the same person who had, foreign policy failures, endless controversies, engaged in the most immoral acts. Go ahead if you want to. It's not going to bother me. But it's interesting. Like, you can't have a dinner or a Thanksgiving or a Christmas dinner or just a lunch with somebody you care about without the derangement issues coming to play. I mean, that's why I make sure to talk and to say, look, I don't want to talk about politics, okay? You can just dislike the Orange Menace. I'm going to vote for the Bermuda Triangle of Orange Madness in 2020. You decide if you want to go onward together. That's up to you. But concerned Democrats fretting DOJ Inspector General report ahead. Okay, so concerned Democrats fretting DOJ Inspector General ahead of FISA report. This is the Washington Examiner. This is by Daniel Chaitin today. And it's actually kind of interesting. It is interesting that they're trying so desperately to paint this as, it's not that big of a deal. There was no institutional bias and everything's okay. Well, then why did people write anti-Trump text messages? Why did they falsify information? Why did they use a dossier purchased by Clinton? That doesn't make any sense. Let's just read this. Democrats are getting antsy with Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz ahead of next month's release. It's on December 9th, by the way. On the Russia investigation that is eagerly anticipated by Republicans, Democrats are asking why Horowitz has not taken up their requests to assess the conduct of President Trump's Attorney General over the past couple of years, because he didn't do anything wrong. And that's why. Because he did absolutely nothing wrong. Like, well, he covered up the Mueller probe. No, he didn't. Read it. Go and read it. It's there for everyone to read. He just disagrees with you on your assessment of the Mueller probe. Go and read it. They literally are upset because he's not serving as an extension of the Democratic Party, and he's pushing back. So it's like, no, he sees things differently from you, and that's okay. That doesn't warrant an investigation into William Barr. If anything, people set up and frame Trump. William Barr has stated it. Trump has stated it. A great many people, from Tom Fitton, Joe DeGeneva, John Solomon, a whole lot of amazing people. Black conservative patriots, awesome. A whole lot of amazing people. This is not, it's so easy. You don't use a Steele dossier and gossip from Alexander Downer to frame and set up and investigate President Trump. Creating with Wingless Angel. Happy person. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. So, let's continue. So, let's just see here. Nobody is suggesting that Michael Horowitz, the independent watchdog appointed by Obama, is partisan or unfair or is unethical. But what Democrats are concerned about is they feel he's avoiding the tough fights. Yeah, right. Says journalist on MSN. They say he did a lot of really fraught investigations under President Obama. On Wednesday, that's because President Obama politicized the government against Trump. It's pretty obvious. You don't use a Steele dossier purchased by Clinton to go after Trump for the most nonsensical. Russia hacked the DNC. Yes, because they were so frightened of Clinton. Yes, the wonderful intelligence community has been right so often. And then when they're wrong, they say, well, we had faulty intelligence. Sorry. Sorry about Bush's quagmires and never-ending conflicts. Sorry about that. Gee, you still trust us, right? Yeah, of course. On Wednesday, the NBC News reporter had a report published that compares Horowitz's work under Trump versus other inspector generals. Yeah. How many times has an incoming president been investigated based on gossip, finding that other agency watchdogs are conducting inquiries into Trump appointees, while Horowitz has been more focused on the past? Gee, why? Why would you be focused on the past when you investigated Trump for 3 years based on nothing, found nothing, and tried to basically oust and remove a president based on gossip and hearsay? Yeah, I think you should probably investigate the past. As far as we can tell, Horowitz has given a full pass to Trump's DOJ, the most politicized department in modern times. Really? Did William Barr meet with did William Barr meet with George Papadopoulos or anyone associated with George Papadopoulos or anyone else caught up in the Mueller probe unfairly in a plane to speak about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren? Because Attorney General Loretta Lynch met with Bill Clinton. So, James Comey stated that he didn't even trust the Attorney General, and the Attorney General stated that James Comey lied under oath, that she never told him to call the Clinton email probe a matter. President Obama's Department of Justice was the most politicized DOJ in modern times, not Trump. Jeff Sessions did nothing for close to 2 years. Horowitz was sworn as the DOJ Inspector General in 2012 and is widely regarded as being thorough and fair. But at least one Democrat, House Intelligence Committee Adam Chairman, has said his work has been tainted by the politics of the Trump era. Yeah, right. Carl's opinion. Happy Thanksgiving, Mr. Goodman Mods in chat. We had a rule that whoever talked about politics today had to put up $5. After I saw a protest carrying the pictures of the Trump Rocky picture, I paid the $5. Yes, thank you. Carl's opinion. So you did talk about politics a little. Okay. I hope that went all right. And, I hope that went all right, Carl's opinion. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. And Carl's opinion, it's really interesting too, because the vitriol against Trump doesn't correlate with how good the country is doing. The vitriol does not correlate with the fact that there's record highs in the stock market, record lows in unemployment. The economy is running very well, and there's no quagmire or military intervention. So there's no military intervention that we can say, George W. Bush is actually looked at in a favorable light by Democrats, and he plunged the country and the world into a great deal of chaos. What he did, along with Hillary Clinton voting for his interventions and Biden voting for his interventions, and then when he got caught with his pants down, so to speak, and then he said, it was faulty intelligence and the intelligence community. We were sorry about that. And they still have a favorable opinion. They call Trump a despot because of his personality, and he signed the prison reform legislation. Usually despots don't sign prison reform legislation. But the DOJ is going to have to start indicting people, and it's going to have to be before January, because then they'll say, you're trying to interfere in the election. Their lives Carl's opinion and everyone, their lives are devoted to blaming any criminal activity that they engage in, any misconduct, any misdeeds. Their lives are blaming their behavior, with blaming their misconduct on others addressing this misconduct or criminal behavior. So they cheated Bernie Sanders. They literally cheated Bernie Sanders. And instead of simply apologizing or addressing the issue, they then say, well, it was Russia. Russia informed the country we were cheating. So they're going to have to, look, John Durham is doing two things. One, he's waiting for, and Carl's opinion, thank you as always. Thank you as always. Carl's opinion, John Durham and Carl's opinion. By the way, everyone subscribe to Carl's opinion. Harris Ann, thank you for watching from Tokyo. Harris, thank you. John Durham is waiting for the IG report to come out. He's waiting for the IG report to come out to indict McCabe and others. Now, I'm expecting McCabe to be sooner than later. Much sooner than later. But there are so many people caught up in all of this. Now, I don't want to say, well, he's going to probably start indicting people, lower level people, just to make sure that he could then get the higher level people. I'm not sure, but this is going to span. He's going to wait for the Attorney General, the Inspector General report, because he has to find out. It has to be public. All of the brazen, corrupt activities have to be public. Away, Canadian! The joyous happy Thanksgiving to all my wonderful U.S. neighbors. Away, Canadian! Thank you. I hope all is well. Thank you, as always, for your support. Away, Canadian! Thank you. Good opinions of Bush attacking 24/7 for 8 years. Agent Pepsi, thank you. Agent Pepsi, thank you. Awake Canadian, happy Thanksgiving. Agent Pepsi, one happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you have a situation where Democrats are never going to, ever. For example, they falsified information on the FISA application. An agent named Kleinsmith falsified information. He did so at the behest of people like Peter Strzok. He worked under Peter Strzok. He had anti-Trump text messages. Peter Strzok had anti-Trump text messages. Andrew McCabe's wife was given hundreds of thousands of dollars from Terry McAuliffe, and which was a conflict of interest that he should have recused himself, that should have caused him to recuse himself. And, all of this was done in plain sight, and yet Democrats don't care. They just don't care. It doesn't, there's nothing that they can never admit that they set up and framed Trump, because their vantage point is that, thank you, Agent Pepsi 1, thank you. Their vantage point is that Russia hacking the DNC was national security. It was the most important issue that we face as a nation. Most people don't care. And the intelligence agencies haven't proven that Russia even hacked the DNC. They're not even certain. They're confident. They're highly to moderately confident. And they haven't confirmed CrowdStrike's report because they're still moderately to highly confident. So their confirmation involved being confident, not certain. We'll confirm with confidence. We won't confirm with certainty. And all of this is for Clinton to run. They're not going with Biden. They're not going with Bernie. They're not going with Warren. They're going with Clinton. They're going with Clinton. And they have no shame. What they did was one of the worst political controversies of all time. The DNC is a private entity. Thank you, Denny Fry. Thank you. The DNC is a private entity. Facebook ads do not affect national security. So they made their political ambitions, they turned their political ambitions into national security. Then they said, well, this helped Trump, so therefore Trump must have been in on it. How do we know? Because Alexander Downer told us. The only problem is that Alexander Downer was somehow found out about the DNC hack before it happened, and it wasn't Papadopoulos or Mifsud who told him, because both Papadopoulos and Joseph Mifsud have stated they never told Downer anything. And they also kept exculpatory evidence, recordings. They kept recordings from that exonerated George Papadopoulos. Eric H526. Thank you, Eric H526. Thank you. Everyone subscribe to Eric H526's channel. He does great gaming, and also to Carl's Opinion. He does some great work. Get Carl's Opinion and Eric H526 to 100,000 each. Thank you so very, very much. 100,000 subscribers. But the Inspector General report is only the first. He was only the first. I mean, it's only the first piece of evidence. It's a gigantic report, but it's only the first stop on the road to President Trump getting retribution. They set him up. They framed him. They politicized. They politicized the United States government against an incoming president. And notice how every single thing that takes place that is somebody falsifying documents, somebody rules and regulations being broken, Attorney General Loretta Lynch meeting with Bill Clinton, FBI Director James Comey stating that the Attorney General told him to call it a matter, which is exactly what Clinton's campaign was calling it. Notice how nobody links President Obama. It's all completely separate. The immense bias from media. It's kind of, and the Clinton email probe is an example. The Clinton email probe is the biggest, one of the biggest, it's the biggest cybersecurity disaster of all time. Almost every email, according to Michael Hayden. The entire system was hacked into, according to Michael Hayden, former intelligence chief. Guess who? Guess who he voted for in 2016? Clinton. So they can do no wrong. They always circle the wagons. You know, he was actually honest. He was kind of honest. He was like, yeah, I'd lose respect for foreign intelligence officials. What did he say? Okay. Here we go. Michael Hayden. He would lose respect for scores of foreign intelligence services if they had not hacked into the servers. So, it's pretty unbelievable. I would lose respect for China, Russia if they hadn't penetrated Clinton's server. So he was top intelligence official during on two of the major agencies during President Obama's tenure. Retired General Michael V. Hayden told the Daily Caller News Foundation that he believes Donald Trump... Okay, so here we go. So if you type in... Okay, so... He goes... I would lose respect for a whole bunch of intelligence agencies around the world if they hadn't penetrated that server and gotten access to the emails. There you go. It's what nation states do to one another. And with emails of such an official in that circumstance, I just think that would have been a natural magnet for a whole bunch of intelligence services. And the Russians are quite good at this. So it's pretty unbelievable. And this is like a blind spot in our nation's history until, it won't be. Because eventually, this Clinton will eventually, when she loses the election again, I think that she'll get indicted eventually because of this. You cannot, just because Comey said no reasonable prosecutor, that doesn't mean you didn't commit crimes. A person simply can't use servers outside of the United States government to hide information, Clinton Foundation pay-to-play schemes. It wasn't yoga. And say, well, if you were to force somebody on the left to answer why she used servers, they wouldn't care. They'd say, who cares? They wouldn't admit. They simply wouldn't admit. So this is the biggest cybersecurity debacle. It's also a big problem too because it's probably one of the saddest. It kind of explains how pathetic and weak the I don't want to be too hard, but it kind of explains how dysfunctional the left is. You have Bernie Sanders supporters who didn't want to bring up the criminal probe while it was taking place. Didn't want to ask questions. Even Bernie Sanders was like, I have had enough of your emails. Why would I bring up your emails, even though the whole entire planet has them? And, oh, by the way, the whole planet has them, and, far be it from me, because if I bring them up, a lot of Democrats won't like me. It's like, he should have brought them up. He should have brought them up. Could you imagine if Bernie Sanders had servers for 4 years? If Bernie Sanders or Trump had servers for 4 years, they would have already been accused of writing love letters to Putin. They would have already been accused. So it's not a matter of whether or not they would have been accused. They absolutely would have already been accused. They absolutely would have. Robert Gates said the same thing. So, Robert Gates, Clinton server. And this is not rocket science, okay? Ex-Pentagon chief, Iran, China, Russia may have gotten to Clinton's server. Both Robert Gates, the defense secretary, and Michael Hayden, an intelligence chief under President Obama, both worked for President Obama. Both stated that Russia and everyone else hacked her servers. How the media doesn't care is it's pretty hilarious. And then they're like, "What's the same thing because Jared Kushner used WhatsApp?" It's like, no, it's not the same thing. He didn't transfer top secret intelligence on WhatsApp. My God almighty. Agent Pepsi 1. Why are most Democrats disparate? I don't know. I believe what Bill Clinton was for a moment, right? That's right. The DNC emails had no classified data. So why would Russia hack the DNC, but not Clinton's servers? That makes no sense. Especially when during the DNC and campaign emails, you get that Clinton's email is Clinton is CC'd and also emailed. So, you know. But there's a long public relations. There has to be a public relations campaign regarding all of this, and it's slow. And the IG report is just part of it. The IG report, Judicial Watch, people like John Solomon. You have to. It's not going to be when Clinton loses again. That'll definitely be what Trump needs to get the ultimate retribution. I mean, they went after him. They got retribution for him winning. They pretended that this was national security, and they tried to really harm his administration. You had a special counsel that should never have been formed. And there's a reason why the media was just fine with Sessions. They didn't have any hit pieces. They were cool because Sessions recused himself, and he should never have done that. He was horrendous. He was absolutely horrendous. Even, he's John Durham. Well, so what? So one good thing took place. So he washed the car after totaling it. Big deal. The Mueller probe would never have happened under William Barr, because William Barr would have said, look, I didn't commit perjury. I said within the context, I didn't talk to Sergei Kislyak about anything. They were going to try to go after him. So, Samuel Stafford! Godspeed, H.A. Godspeed, Samuel, and God bless you, and thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, Samuel Stafford. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And I greatly appreciate your support as always. Thank you. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Carl's Opinion. Thank you, everyone. Samuel Stafford, I hope all is well. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And we are just, we're heading into, Samuel and everyone here, do you know when, in the Star Trek movies, when, William Shatner, when Captain Kirk tells Lieutenant Chekhov or Lieutenant Sulu to go warp speed, and before they hit the warp speed, it's like Kirk goes, engage in warp speed, and then they're like, okay, warp speed. And we're at the moment right now where before Chekhov pulls the lever for the Starship Enterprise to just go warp speed, which, by the way, I have no. How fast is warp speed? Let's just write that down. How fast is warp speed? I mean, obviously, it's just, but like Star Trek. So 73. Can't even read this. So, of course, light speed. Oh, it's 7,912 times the speed of light. So, warp 9 is, I don't know why it's telling me this. Warp 9 is 7,912 times the speed of light. Oh, my God. So, there you go. But, that's where we're at as a country. So Samuel Stafford, we're right about to hit warp speed. And it's pretty interesting. This year's going to be fantastic. I mean, it's probably going to be the most interesting, chaotic, groundbreaking year in American history, and Trump is going to own it. He's going to own this year. Carl's opinion! Carl's opinion, thank you. President Trump has the guts to take on the military-industrial complex. He does. He does because he's already a billionaire. He doesn't care. One thing about Trump that's interesting, money doesn't drive Trump. Power drives Trump, but money doesn't. That is one of the reasons why they are trying to, even Eisenhower only talked about it, only as he was on his way out the door. Exactly, and Eisenhower knew exactly. Eisenhower knew exactly what it was all about. It's unfortunate too, Samuel Stafford and Carl's opinion. It's unfortunate too because civilians run the military in our system. The president is commander-in-chief. Congress is supposed to declare the military intervention. Congress is supposed to. They've completely absolved their duties. I don't like the authorization for use of military force. So Samuel and Carl, I think that no president should have the authority to unilaterally just send soldiers anywhere for 30 or was it 90 days without Congress, without Congress being able to stop him. I want Americans home. I want Americans back home. I don't want them in places forever. And that's what drives me. That's why I'm voting for President Trump, because he's scaling back U.S. foreign policy. I want Americans back home. And they're like, well, you want them back home from Germany and Japan? It's like, well, no. The places they're at now, not Germany and Japan. World War II was an anomaly in world history. In many ways. In many ways. In every way. In almost every way, it was an anomaly. Everyone tries to use that as the blueprint for every single intervention, but that's not, that's not how things go. You can't use an anomaly and say, well, there are no counterinsurgency conflicts in Germany or Japan, so there you go. Thank you. Samuel Stafford, thank you again. Carl's opinion, thank you as always. In fact, I read that Eisenhower, there was he was actually debating whether to become a Republican. He was eventually a Republican or a Democrat. To run as a Republican or Democrat. So it's he didn't really care about political party at all. The craziest thing is that he had already written a speech that he had written out. It had D-Day not worked out. That would be so freaky. How horrendous would that have been for him to read that speech if it didn't work out? But you have people. There's this agent now. We're finding out anti-Trump text messages and he then falsified information. So how do you not get institutional bias? Well, that's the thing. There was no institutional bias. There was no institutional bias. So their whole thing is no institutional bias against Trump. Here we go. That's the thing. Sure, there might be bias for certain people, but in terms of an institution, There was no bias. Well, yeah, you didn't get a signed note from Comey saying that he's going to devote, his life to undermining Trump. There was individual bias. There was enough individual bias from people who had the ability to, and that's good. If anyone says there was no institutional bias, just say, yeah, there was individual bias. Exactly. There's always institutional bias when the people at the top are biased. Ronald, thank you. As always, I have to always say I like the Bears, but I'm not really I'm not a specific fan of any team. There are teams I like more than others. I just have a whole bunch of NFL beanies that I got. And but yeah, I mean, you look at what's going to take place. We're in the third or fourth inning now. This next year in American politics is going to change America forever. I don't usually talk this way, but it will. It'll change America forever. The paradigm, the liberal paradigm you see, it won't exist anymore. The liberal paradigm you see right now will not exist. It'll be completely different. You'll have more of the Connor Lamb, Tulsi Gabbard, Sharice Davids. You'll have more of those are the people who will run for president next time around if they have any hope of winning. These are more conservative, or I should say middle of the road Democrats. These are Democrats that are from Nebraska or from Pennsylvania. Obviously, Tulsi Gabbard's from Hawaii, but what you see now with the condemnation, they have to condemn because they don't have anything to run on. So they need energy and enthusiasm, and they've replaced energy, enthusiasm, hope with condemnation, judgment, and this veneer of moral superiority. That's why when Clinton runs, it's going to be so delicious and amazing and vindicating, because they're all going to vote again for the same person who's the antithesis of their alleged value system. I love it. Nobody is a bigger Hillary Clinton supporter than H.A. Goodman. Nobody! Because I am just like the I'm with her crowd, except that I know that Clinton will lose and then completely decimate the Democratic Party. But until then, why not? I'm not gonna allow anyone on the left to disrespect Madam Secretary, because if you voted for Madam Secretary in 2016, you better vote for Madam Secretary in 2020. You better. And you better do so enthusiastically, and don't complain. Because when I was saying Clinton was unelectable, oh my God, was I a bad person? Oh my goodness, was I a bad person? What a horrendous human being I was. You have to understand something. When they cheated Bernie Sanders, they also extinguished any flame of enthusiasm. They showed their hand. The Democrats will never, ever implement Medicare for all or abolish ICE or Green New Deal. Anyone who believes that is being played and deceived. The Democratic Party is the most conniving, sinister political party that we've ever had. Even when Tammany Hall existed, it was a machine full of graft, and the Democrats ran a machine where they just ran it on graft and a bunch of other shady things, but at least they gave people what they promised. The Democratic Party doesn't. They can't. They can't. They can't run on They can run on it, but they can't implement Medicare for all. So I don't understand why people even believe Because, see, the thing is, there's an existential issue on the left. If you're not disliking Trump with the passion of 1,000 suns, then what are you going to do? You can't support the Democratic Party overtly because you know they're not going to implement anything you believe in. So you convince yourself, what they've done is they've convinced themselves that their voice is going to change the Democratic Party because they listen to pundits and the pundits say, well, we're going to change the Democratic Party. It's like the Democratic Party doesn't care about progressives. They don't care about people on the left. They don't care about anarchists or progressives or socialists. They don't care at all. It took them about 2 months to completely trample and steamroll and just place Medicare for All and a Green New Deal legislation and all that stuff, abolishing ICE, sweep that all under the rug and forget about it. Now they're just running on pure contempt for Trump. That's it. That's it. They're running on contempt for Trump. They already they don't have any place to go because if you want Medicare for all, okay, you're pretty much now removed from the political conversation, and you're relegated to a social media universe where you're constantly condemning Trump and you're constantly retweeting how great Medicare for all is. Yeah, you know what? Let's save money and da-da-da and da-da-da. And you know what? If it was feasible, great. But it's not feasible because Democrats don't even want it. They can't even pass legislation because they know it's not feasible. And let's say they know it's feasible and I'm wrong and they still won't pass legislation because, that's the thing. Let's say it's feasible, and you wouldn't have to double to triple tax collection the way the Mercatus study said. Then the question is, well, why haven't Democrats passed this legislation? Why is it everyone from Biden to the Washington Post, to the New York Times, to especially Hillary Clinton? Why have they all said that you can't implement it? The question is, what do you run on then? If you're the Democratic Party, your most exciting ideas will never come to fruition. Your most exciting ideas are not supported by the people who really run the political party. And at the end of the day that, the people on the far left are always going to vote. 90% of them, 80% of the people on the far left are always going to vote Democrat anyway. So you get this kind of really unhealthy dynamic going where everyone is just retweeting and condemning and judging without getting their voice heard because they can't admit that they're being played. They can't admit that. If they were to admit that, that would be too close to what Russia wants. Basically, anything that harms the Democratic Party is what Russia wants. So you're left with, okay, whatever happens, it's 3-4 years of saying Medicare for all, which it didn't. They own the House. They still haven't passed Medicare for all legislation. And they still haven't passed Medicare for all legislation, but you have pundits who either willingly or unwillingly, or either with the intent or unintentionally, deceive voters into thinking that the Democratic Party will cave to their demands. The Democrats will never, ever in a million years cave to the far left. In a million years. They utilize the notion, the belief, the hope. They utilize the hopes and dreams of people and funnel those hopes and dreams just right back into the Democratic nominee. And then they do it all over again. And then they do it all over again. And the paradigm, because the thing is, if you talk about certain issues that are accepted, Medicare for all, it's okay. You cannot say bring home Americans. If you do, you're too close to Tulsi Gabbard, and it's a big problem. Then you are in direct conflict with Hillary Clinton. You're in direct conflict. Can't have direct conflict. Why do you think they're after Tulsi Gabbard? Why do you think they're okay? People are okay with Bernie? Because Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard had the same platform. The Bernie 2016 and Tulsi Gabbard of Bernie 2016 and Tulsi Gabbard 2020, they're the same people. There's no difference. Bernie 2016 spent more time talking about foreign policy. Tulsi Gabbard spends a lot more time, and that's what differentiates her from everyone there. Most of her platform is pretty much, what Bernie Sanders wants. She might be a little bit more conservative, but most of her platform is what Bernie Sanders wants. It's just that she talks about foreign policy. She talks about interventions. She wants to scale back U.S. foreign policy, which is exactly what Trump does. That's why there are Trump supporters like myself who like Tulsi Gabbard, because there's some crossover there. To Democrats, that's disloyal and blasphemous. You cannot have any crossover. So when Philippe Reines goes on Fox News and says, "Oh yeah, Clinton hasn't closed the door," and she's basically announcing her campaign, saying she's going to run, that's okay. But if Tulsi Gabbard goes on Fox News and say, "Oh my God, did you see she went on Fox? Oh my God," it's like, well, Clinton had Philippe Reines go on Fox News. That was okay. So it's like they're not running on anything. So when Clinton loses again, because they're going to lose to Trump, okay? Trump, we haven't seen anything from Trump. I mean, the Democratic Party and media, they're at a loss now. They don't know why he's so popular. They're appalled that people, I forgot the joke, but it's like they sit up at night petrified that somebody has a smile on their face. It's a specific joke. It's kind of funny. But Democrats wake up at night petrified that Trump supporters have a smile on their face and are happy about the economy or happy about life. All they've done, and then there's an attempt, well, it's both sides. No, it's not. No, it's not. I mean, Trump supporters don't care about, I don't care if a person votes Democrat. Democrats care if you vote Trump. That's a difference. I don't care. Go vote Clinton. I don't care. Have a statue of Madam Secretary. Do what you want with it. I don't care. I really don't care what you do with your life. As long as it doesn't affect me, you could think whatever I mean, even if it does affect me, you can have thoughts, but it's like the thought police. The thought police, Matthew, I agree with you. Matthew. The thought police, on the left, they don't have anything to run on, because if you differ at all, you're then a Russian operative, and you've engaged in blasphemy. So when Clinton loses again in 2020, they're going to be completely the machine that you see today is going to be completely obliterated. Then it'll be interesting, because I believe Clinton's going to run in 2024 again. But then it'll be interesting. I mean, we'll see what takes place. Democrats, in terms of the only thing they don't have any major policy ideas. Their most exciting policy ideas they don't want to implement because they can't. Green New Deal legislation, they don't even have legislation. They have resolution. That's public relations. Medicare for all, they're not interested in. So what do? Once they lose again, it'll be because they don't have anything to run on. Hopefully you see Democrats talking about foreign policy and talking about a scaled back foreign policy and kind of kicking out the more hawkish theorists out there. So When Max Boot and Bill Kristol don't vote Democrat, then you'll see a revival of the Democratic Party. Then you'll see a revival of the Democratic Party. And who knows? I mean, after Trump, the Republicans could go back to being the hawks, and Democrats could go back to what they're historically known as, people who are less inclined to intervene in other countries. President Obama extended Bush's foreign policy. He didn't reverse Bush's foreign policy. He extended Bush's foreign policy. So there's really no Democratic Party. They're facing an existential crisis. So it's a political machine run on graft. They don't have policies. When they're in power, they don't have policies that epitomize their alleged value system. And all they do is engage in mockery, and they just denigrate others, and that's it. There are no policies that drive them. So when Clinton loses, they're going to have to finally look in the mirror and say, okay, what do we do now? We've lost twice in a row with the same person. We've spent 3 years paving the way for Clinton. And could you imagine the victory just in terms of what Trump has had to overcome? Being framed and set up. Could you imagine how good that's going to feel for President Trump? Being framed and set up, never given a moment to congratulate him being the first president to step foot in North Korea. Not a moment to congratulate him. I mean, you know what? The one person who did was Van Jones and CNN. He congratulated Trump on signing the First Step Act. But I mean, 99% of the media has devoted their lives to condemning Trump, and it doesn't work. He has a picture with him, of his face and Rocky Balboa's body, and like they're at a loss. Like, why would he do this? Oh my God! I don't know when Clinton will announce, but it's going to happen. I don't know how. I don't know when. I have no clue when Clinton will announce. I know that they're not going to go with Biden, Warren, or Bernie. Let's look at Hillary Clinton. Okay, so there's no way that anyone else other than Clinton wins the nomination. No way. And I love this. Gabbard calls out 2020 Dems for failing to condemn Hillary's Russian operative allegation. I love it. Bernie finally did. He's like, let me wait a couple of hours or a day or so. Yeah, then I'll say, it's not so nice, what can I tell you? So, yeah, I mean, Tulsi Gabbard was on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was right. He asked how Clinton was able to level such an allegation without actually being held accountable or being forced to produce proof. And Gabbard blamed the 2020 Democratic field and media for providing cover for the First Lady. Quote, it would be a good question for a normal person, she replied. But when you look at the power of the Clinton machine, when you look at the political establishment, when you look at the media establishment, then you see how somebody gets away with calling a sitting member of Congress a candidate for president. Basically, to the country that I love. And plus, she's a veteran. Notice how Clinton was able to go after a veteran without any condemnation. And she didn't even apologize. That's also the thing. Madam Secretary never apologized. Isn't that interesting? No apology. And then Democrats hide behind, can you believe what Trump? Oh my God. And Trump defends a Navy SEAL who was wrongfully accused himself. So, So, I mean, it's just, this whole thing is, they can't, the thing with Clinton in 2020, she can't just simply say, I'm running and, that's it. She has to pretend she doesn't want to run. So then she'll say many, many people and, Woke AF for Eric H526, the hardest working mod up here. Woke AF, you are awesome. And that's very true. Eric H526, first of all, thank you very much, Woke AF, for your generosity. And Samuel Stafford and Carl's opinion. Woke AF, thank you very much. Yeah, Eric H526 is fantastic. Everyone, all 360 people, thank Eric H526 for just... I'm very lucky as a YouTuber to have a person who is just so wonderful in Eric. He is just such a great human being. He really is such a great human being. An amazing moderator, always there every upload to just say something wonderful and great, and he's just a really, really wonderful human being. So, Eric H526, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so very much. Woke AF! Woke AF! That was very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you for Eric H526, the hardest working mod up here. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate that very much, Woke AF. Thank you. And I appreciate Eric H526's, all his kindness. I just want to thank him for that. We need to get the show on the road. We need to get Woke AF. Thank you again, very, very much. This election cycle is going to be so hilarious. Oh my God. Here, Steve Bannon. So, don't you love this? Money in markets. Oh, Steve Bannon. Bloomberg will open the door for Hillary to save the Dem Party. Okay. So, I give him major props, but I was 2 years ahead of him because I wrote in the Huffington Post, everyone, please get that article viral. It's below in the pinned comment of every one of my segments. Steve Bannon, Bloomberg will open the door for Hillary to save the Dem Party. That's what I've been saying forever. They'll throw Biden away to get to Trump and hope Elizabeth Warren. I think Hillary Clinton. Okay, so then the return of Clinton. Opening the door, return of Clinton. Okay. So he said that too. He was on. Okay, so let's where was he on? Okay, so this is hilarious. And I believe he thinks the Wall Street faction of the Democratic Party is not going to have a coronation for Elizabeth Warren. So he's going to come in, I think, is going to totally disrupt the race. And I believe Hillary Clinton is going to look and say, quote, I'm going to step in and save the Democratic Party. So don't count. I'm only 2 for 2 for this. I think Hillary Clinton is going to take a hard look and seeing what Bloomberg is doing and seeing how Bloomberg is trying to position himself. I think the Democratic race is wide open. Bannon is right on this, but I think that his thing is he doesn't want to sound, because I'm like pretty laser focused. Clinton is definitely running, so he was right about Bloomberg, but Bloomberg is not even, he has no chance and he doesn't even want to run. I always said I don't know how it's going to happen. But Clinton's going to enter the contest. I don't know how it's going to happen. This is hilarious. Even she can't even make it enjoyable. Like, nothing is enjoyable with Madam Secretary. It's just nothing. Like, even entering the presidential contest, and like honestly, she could simply just enter the race and say, you don't have to vote for me. You can vote for me. You don't have to vote for me. Bannon and Bloomberg will totally disrupt the race, leaving an opening for Hillary Clinton to save the party. Yes. Yes, I love that. I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, I give props to Steve Bannon, but I was saying this since 2017 in the Huffington Post and about 10,000 times since then. But I certainly like what Bannon is saying. Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Nobody is a bigger Clinton supporter. God bless her. She's done so much for humanity and the cosmos. Even Martians on Saturn are thanking Hillary for all her wonderful work. This is hilarious. This is really hilarious. I love that. When she enters, it won't only vindicate me. Do you understand, ladies and gentlemen? Every day will be Christmas. Every single day will be Christmas. Every day. Every day will be like, getting presents on Christmas. Every single day. Oh my God, it's going to be so great. Oh my God, it'll be so amazing. And, I won't stand for anyone who disparages, especially on the left. Madam Secretary. Eric H. H.A. I remember nearly 2 years ago when you said that you also weren't happy about how Bernie let them crush him. Now Obama's after Bernie. That's right. Is Bernie ever going to defend himself? Eric H., thank you. Thank you for watching for so long, Eric H. It's pretty unbelievable. Well, it's kind of funny, too, because President Obama said, well, Bernie Sanders isn't a Democrat. Bernie Sanders isn't a Democrat. Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. He's not a Democrat. He's not a Democrat. He's not a Democrat. He's the embodiment of what Democrats believe in. So what's the problem with the Democratic Party? Okay, why don't they just say they're Republican light, which is an existential issue the Democrats face. They're not Medicare for all. They're Republican light. The Affordable Care Act does not excite the far left. Okay, that's the best they can do. And that's not necessarily Republican light, but that's the most exciting policy that Democrats have. It doesn't excite the far left. So there you go. Plus, President Obama's foreign policy was an extension of Bush. So, but they say, well, Bernie's not a Democrat. Bernie's not a Democrat. It's like, well, that's not, Virtual guitarist, thank you. Hello. They say, well, Bernie Sanders isn't a Democrat. Well, so what? I mean, he's not to answer your question, Eric. He's never going to Eric H. He's never going to defend himself. He can't defend himself for some reason, and I have no clue why. I swear to God, I have no clue why. Tulsi Gabbard defends herself. Tulsi Gabbard defends herself. And I don't know why Bernie Sanders can't defend himself. I don't know why. I kind of understand why. I kind of get it. I kind of get that. Like he's running as an independent, and he's running on a platform that is, let's say, one could consider the epitome of what a liberal, the epitome of what a progressive would stand for. But Democrats aren't progressives, so then see, that's the thing. It's not like there's not that much of a rift between a Republican and Trump, even though Trump is not really a traditional conservative Republican. But there's not much of a rift. There's not, aside from foreign policy, where he wants to scale back U.S. foreign policy, then you have Lindsey Graham saying, "Oh my God, you can't do that." But Democrats face that, like that wide, chasm, that wide rift between. It's just the Democratic Party is a bunch of factions that don't like each other, and they have different value systems. They have different policy ideas. They have different. I mean, you'll have socialists who will vote Democrat. I got into a debate with an Occupy Wall Street person who said he was going to vote for. This was in 2016. This was hilarious. This was really hilarious. I got into a debate with an Occupy Wall Street person on social media who didn't like the fact I wasn't voting for Clinton. And I said, how can you vote for Clinton if you're an Occupy Wall Street person? And he said, "Oh, Orange Monster." And I'm like, what? Oh my God. It's unbelievable. You're supposed to be like, completely against, one would think against the system. And then you're an Occupy Wall Street, but then you're voting for a person with her husband got $130+ million from Wall Street. So I don't get it. It's pretty unbelievable when you think about it. How like Democrats are heading towards an iceberg. Just again, they're heading towards an iceberg. They don't see it too because it's very difficult to see when the Democratic Party is they're basically down 50 points, but their cheering section is, they think they're up 50 points. So they don't even have a view of the scoreboard. Every failure is a win. So that's why they continue failing, because every failure is a win. Then they get the eventual, Pyrrhic victory. And even the House was a Pyrrhic victory. Look, how are they going to, they're going to go, they might lose Congress. Who knows? They'll definitely lose the presidency. President Trump will remain president and he'll win. This will be the second straight election that I got right. 2015. And nobody was saying Clinton was going to lose. I was. Nobody on the left. Nobody on the left. I was one of the only people on the left saying it, if not the only person. Ladies and gentlemen, job for 9. Job for 9. Happy Thanksgiving. Love the live shows. Thank you so much, Job for 9. Thank you. Job for 9, Woke AF, Samuel Stafford, Carl's Opinion. As always, Carl's Opinion, Samuel Stafford, Woke AF, Job for 9. To my super chat, thank you. Job for 9, happy Thanksgiving to you and to everyone here. Great show. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you all tomorrow. God bless. Thank you so very much. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Oh, Eric H. H.A. Blast from the past. Do you remember when Brennan would call into the day and Bill would give advice? Also, what do you think of Trump's Rocky? I literally died. Oh my God, Eric H. I remember that. That's right. That's right. Toronto, Brennan. Oh, I forgot what I did. You gotta be yourself. You gotta be yourself, Brennan. Do what you do. Do what you do best. I forgot. Eric H. Yeah. That's the thing, So real quick, let's just look at. That's the thing. Eric H. I do remember that. I forgot the shtick I would do. John O'Brien. James Clapper took my girl, Sally Yates. I'll never forget him. Okay, so hold on. Rocky Trump. Oh my God. Doctored Rocky photo. I love that. Doctored Rocky photo. Oh. Trump posted a ridiculous meme of himself as Rocky. And the responses are unanimous TKO. It's like, oh my God. Really? No, it's not. It was amazing. It's amazing. And then this is that they don't get that, like, they don't get that he wants the response. They've never understood that, ever. They don't understand that. Like, nobody gets that. Trump's fake Rocky photo just about breaks the internet. Trump's fake Rocky photo. Yes, nobody believes that there's this person who looks exactly like Trump with Rocky's body. Yes, we know. Oh my God. I think it's exactly, how do I get a picture of this? I gotta get that. It's like they don't get it. They don't get it. They don't want to get it. They can't possibly, Eric H., they can't possibly just, they can't just enjoy themselves. I mean, they sit up at night petrified that a Trump supporter is happy. I love it. D. Snyder, that's right. Snopes verified. The Rocky photo was fake. Yes. I love that. Oh my God. This is 5 Pinocchios. Trump is not Rocky. How could Trump be Rocky, but when Rocky is Rocky? Oh, the Orange Menace did it again. He's not telling the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless. Thank you so very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Sleep well. Thank you to people who are watching in other countries. Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you.